Tonight, 3 shot in riots in Sogakofe in the Volta region as an angry mob attacked a police station. The military has been called in to enforce calm as the Regional Security Council calls an emergency meeting.
Look at how that door is. Before they break it, let's say 15 to 20 minutes they are breaking that door. If police people to be around doing that thing, I don't think they can kill him.
The police should find the killers within 3 working days. Else, we have decided to vent our spleen and anger on the whole nation.
We are live at the scene of the chaos triggered by the killing of a local assembly member by suspected armed robbers. The residents are accusing the police of failing to protect them following a spate of home invasions.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Bond Savings and Loans. Your success and passion also brought to you by Gasem Cement, the Nation Builder, and Vodafone. The future is exciting. Ready. In the last couple of hours, fresh violence has erupted in the Volta regional town of Sogakofe, forcing police there to fire live rounds in a desperate attempt to disperse the angry crowd determined to attack a police station. 3 people have so far been shot. We understand the military have now been called in an attempt to avert a further escalation of violence. The violence erupted following the killing of a local assembly member by suspected armed robbers. Today, the residents called a press conference and issued this warning.
The police should find the killers within 3 working days. The perpetrators of this crime should be found and brought to book. Else, we have decided to vent our spleen and anger on the whole nation by blocking this Sogakofe bridge. This is our way of recording our displeasure towards what has been happening in the community.
And let's go live now to my colleague Fred Kwame Asari, who has been following the fluid situation for us. And Fred, what more do we know about what happened leading to these 3 gunshot injuries?
Evans, good evening. Yesterday after the killing of the assembly member, the residents got furious in the sense that the distress calls placed to the police, but then the police could not follow up to combat the robbers. They think that if the police had followed up on the call, they would have saved the young man from dying. So they got angry and then went on a protest and blocked the Sogakofe Accra highway. But then they took the invitation of opinion leaders to speak to them to calm them down. So they took off the unauthorized roadblock. So this morning the minister was scheduled to meet the youth and then as well speak to them to calm them down and then assure them that the police would go on the investigation and ensure that the perpetrators are brought to book. But then the minister could not meet them as scheduled. This actually got the residents in Sogakofe angry. They took to the streets again, and this time around they did not only block the Sogakofe Accra highway, but then in the process they burnt tires. Some of them were also besieged the police station where they were pelting stones at police officers at the station. And then in the process, the police attempted to scare them off. And then some warning shots were fired, but unfortunately, 3 people were hit by bullets from the warning shots.
And we understand that 3 people have so far been shot. I've seen really gory videos of the injuries. Who are these?
Yes, Evans, the 3 people, 2 I can confirm were not part of the protesters. One who was shot in the leg. I spoke to the brother. He told me that he spoke to his brother at the Sogakofe hospital where he is receiving treatment. He was on a bike just passing by the police station when the warning shot was fired, and unfortunately he was hit. Another person who was just returning from a betting center was also hit. But then the 3rd person, I can't confirm if he was part of the protected, but he was also hit at the back. So in all, 3 people were hit. The first person was hit in the leg, the second was hit in the arm, and then the third person was hit in the back. But then they are all responding to treatment and are stable at the moment. 2 are the Sugakope District Hospital, while 1 is at the Komboni Hospital.
There's a background to this particular protest. Yes, we know the latest eruption was on the back of the murder of the local assembly member, but it goes deeper than that, does it not?
Come again, Evans.
I mean, the background to this, it goes deeper than just the murder of the local assembly member.
Exactly. Yesterday, after the incident, after the residents were calmed down, the opinion leaders held a press conference where they mentioned that within the last 2 years, there has been about 6 robbery incidents. And in all the 6 robbery incidents, they tried to call the police to step in and then combat the robbers. But then the police, on all these occasions, failed to hit to their call or to live up to expectations, where they were not able to get to the crime scenes to combat this robbery. This actually led to the loss of life and property. They mentioned Fan Milk Depot robbery incident. They mentioned another robbery incident at Ndana Hotel. They also mentioned some nurses who were robbed and raped. So this actually got the residents furious. And then yesterday's incident added up to it because we were told that the robbers took about an hour to go about their operations. They actually took their time to break down the bullet and the burglary-proof door of the assembly member before going in to pick before going in to pick a safe. They brought the safe out, used another 6 inches block to break into the safe before they took whatever they were after. So the residents are furious this time around because they have the belief that if the police were to act on the distress call and then get to the crime scene, they would have actually saved the young man from dying, where they would be able to combat the robbers and then save the life of the young man. So this actually got them furious, and then they embarked on the demonstration yesterday and then this morning.
This particular assembly member, who is he? It appears that he must be very attached to the community or vice versa. Who is he? What do we know about him?
Yes, the little information I gathered about him is that he actually grew up in the Sugakope community where he's very popular. He's one of the first people who started this telecommunication work. He actually started with transfer of credit and then upgraded to become a mobile money vendor. On the other hand, I am told he's actually like a philanthropist, where every year in celebrating his birthday, he makes donations to orphanages, hospitals, and other institutions or persons who are in need. He's always able to act on their calls. So I should say that majority of residents in Sugakope are really saddened by the death of this young man. That is how come they got furious and then embarked on the protest yesterday.
Also, we understand that the residents burnt tires today, and joint military was called in. Has this managed to calm the situation at all? Has calm returned?
Yes, in the course of the protest, they actually burnt tires. About 3 tires were burnt at the entrance of the Sugakope Bridge, which is the main Sugakope Accra highway. And then in the protest, the military had to be called in to calm situations down. But then as we speak, there is calm in Sugakope. Also, the DISEC has been meeting on the issue. And then after their meeting, they addressed the press and mentioned that a 10,000 bounty has been placed on the head of any member of the robbery gang that will be arrested.
Fred, thank you very much. Keep an eye on this unfolding story for us. We'll be speaking with the regional minister shortly, who has been chairing an emergency security council meeting a short while ago. We'll hear from the police as well. Just a little of the background to this, if you missed the story, my colleague Komla Dom has been following that for you.
I called the sister to call her, not knowing she's the one who picked the call. So I called her that she should call police to one Robert attacking Mauto. The Mauto was shouting, they are killing him, he needs help.
Sister of a murdered assembly member for the Sugakope South Assembly, Salom Ajahli, narrating what she saw Sunday during the attack by the robbers. Information gathered by Joy News indicates the assailants broke into the home of a deceased and attempted making away with his safe. In the scuffle, Mr. Ajahli, who was elected assembly member in December 2019, sustained multiple gunshot wounds to his chest, stomach and head, leading to his death. The wife and the daughter of a late assembly member are said to have been severely injured during the attack.
We sent the wife to the hospital. The small girl, we see her back here, blood, and the ear too, there's blood. So when we sent her to the surgery, they said there's 3 bullets entering her body.
How about the wife? What happened to the wife?
The wife, when she come back with the blood, this thing is blood. So I see her here. I don't know how big the wound is, but all the body is blood.
News of a killing sparked spontaneous protests in the area, with residents pouring onto the streets and others besieging the police station over the matter. For several hours, the main Sogakope road was blocked to traffic by the residents who accused the police of not doing enough when the alarm was raised.
But first, when the thing happened, if they brought their sandy, whatever they call it, they come around Crawford, they didn't come to the scene. They will run away. They will not kill him. Like, look at how that door is. Before they break it, let's say 15 to 20 minutes, they are breaking that door. If police people to be around doing that thing, I don't think they can kill him. Master is not a deaf and dumb that window. He shouts with some.
At a press conference, the residents issued a 3-day ultimatum to the police to have the perpetrators arrested or face their wrath. Maxwell Lukuto is an opinion leader.
The police should find the killers within 3 working days. The perpetrators of this crime should be found and brought to book. Else, we have decided to vent our spleen and anger on the whole nation by blocking this Sogakope bridge. This is our way of recording our displeasure towards what has been happening in the community.
For the immediate family of the deceased, it is a case of a breadwinner lost, the father of a little daughter below 5 gone, and a grieving wife in hospital hoping to recover to hold the fort, while the killers of her husband continue to remain on the loose.
Well, we're just getting pictures of the injury sustained in the wake of this latest eruption a couple of hours back. And that's what are we seeing?
So, Evans, in one of the videos, you see scores of young people, mostly young men, gathered at a place. It had the signpost with the inscription "Police Barrier," so I suppose they were the police. And in that same video, you see or hear them chanting songs of protest. Some of them sitting on motorbikes, going up and down. Then you see thick black smoke on the side coming from the burning of tires. Also by the young men. In another video, you see a young man lying on a stretcher being moved by 2 nurses to a ward, I guess, because this was just outside the hospital within the premises. He had a bandage on his right leg. In the third video, you see a gentleman in a red top, blue jeans, with blood oozing from a wound on his left hand and blood stains on his trouser, all over his trouser as well.
Dripping on the floor as well.
Dripping on the floor as well. You see some nurses walk towards him, trying to attend to him. And you see also some young men, I guess they brought him to the facility, also speaking in the background. And there's a picture of what looks like a bullet. So, that is it.
Let's, thankfully, we can speak to the chairman of the Regional Security Council. He's also the regional minister, Dr. Archibald Letcher. Dr. Letcher, thank you for your time here on Top Story.
Thank you, Evans. Good evening.
Good evening. Has calm returned?
Yes. Calm has eventually returned to Sogakope by 3 p.m. We had met the opinion leaders, the chiefs, and the queen mothers, and the leaders of the youth groups, and some political party leaders in the area, and calm has been restored. So the highway is now very clear for traffic.
Okay, so they blocked the highway?
They blocked the highway again this morning.
And so I know that I understand that you also had a Security Council meeting. What did you decide?
Actually, the events of yesterday, we fortunately came to an end early in the afternoon, where the highway was blocked for hours. So yesterday we asked the District Security Council to meet, and they had a meeting yesterday, Sunday in the evening. So this morning, myself and some members of the Regional Security Council decided to visit Sogakope purposely to commiserate with the bereaved family and to find out what exactly was happening on the ground. So our first meeting was with the District Security Council, which went very well. And then from there, all of us drove to the village of the deceased, which is a few kilometers from Sogakope. We were very well received by the family. We met the father and the uncles of the deceased, and we had a fruitful interaction. And we assured them that investigations will be done to identify the perpetrators of these heinous acts. So we were, to the extent that the father of the deceased also followed us when we told him that we were going to the hospital to visit the widow and the daughter. So he followed us to the hospital, and we visited the woman and the daughter. We were accompanied by the medical director in charge of the hospital and the nurse manager, and everything went well. I must say that we were very well received in Sogakope today. We entered the town, and the whole town was very peaceful. There was no sign of any disturbance. But something happened along the way. When we were moving from the hospital to the crime scene, we wanted to know how far the crime scene was from the police, because the police are being accused of not responding quickly enough. So we wanted to see how far the crime scene was. We eventually got to the crime scene. But there was some agitation among the young people. They were quite lawless, and we were not very happy with their behavior. So we retreated and decided to go to the police station to see where the police were deployed from, the conditions under which the police were working. So we went to the station, spoke to the station officer. We went to the Divisional Police Command, the District Police Command. So we were with the police when we realized that they started massing up at the police station. So we felt that the safest place for us to go at that time was the residency of the district chief executive. So we went there, and they were asking to meet us at the assembly hall, but the atmosphere was not conducive enough for us to go and meet there. So we requested that they came to meet us at the residence. But unfortunately, they didn't take lightly to that. They didn't take it lightly. And they started causing some confusion in town, burning ties and blocking the roads again. But at that time, we didn't want the traffic to be disturbed any longer. So we mobilized the security forces to clear the road, and the road was cleared very early. And finally, the leaders came, together with the chiefs and the queen mothers, or opinion leaders, and we had a very fruitful discussion with them. They expressed their grievances to us. They handed over a petition to me, and we assured them that all the grievances will be looked into. The police also had some challenges we discussed with them, and basically we agreed that much as we are all sad that the young man has lost his life, nothing empowers us to take it into our hands. So we should all act within the confines of the law. We shouldn't break the law, because if nobody broke the law, there will be consequences for to be faced. So I don't know. We had a very peaceful conclusion. We had a press briefing together. The leaders, the chiefs, we all have we had a press briefing together, and that was it. So by the time I was leaving Sogakope, everything was peaceful, but we are still maintaining some security presence in the town. We are monitoring. We are continuing to monitor the situation.
We've also seen pictures, and the report is that at least 3 people have been shot in the process. Have you received that report, and what is going to be done about it?
So I think that I got to hear this a few minutes ago. It never got to my attention while in Sogakope, but we investigate and find out what happened.
From what we've seen in the pictures at the hospital, the angel tell us that live rounds were used in an attempt to disperse the angry mob. It appears these individuals may have been hit in that process. You say that is going to be investigated?
Yes, it's going to be investigated, because when we were faced with having the blockade once again, we had to mobilize a combination of security personnel to clear the road. So, but you see, our first point of strategy was to talk to them, to appeal to them. But we were in a meeting before the security agencies went to clear the highway for the vehicles to pass. So probably this might have happened during that period. I would investigate. I've just arrived in Ho. I will contact the officers in charge and find out what exactly happened.
The main concern, of course, beyond the killing of the assembly member there, the residents say there's been a spate of armed robberies that the police haven't responded to, or they haven't dealt with it adequately, and that they've been living under the control of these armed robbers, and the police haven't been responsive enough. Is there, beyond the trying to calm nerves today, a clear commitment going forward to provide the security the residents are calling for to one of these armed robbery attacks that they've been experiencing over the period?
Yeah, I think all the things that Evans that you just mentioned are in their petition. So the Regional Security Council has received the petition. We are going to call the appropriate officers to answer, to tell us their side of the story. So we have to investigate before we draw our conclusions.
On the ground, though, today, you say you are maintaining some form of security presence. I understand the military is also giving some assistance in this?
Yes, they gave us some assistance in the afternoon. But we have a combination of security personnel on the ground to monitor the situation, even though we have been reassured by the chiefs, the Queen Mother and opinion leaders that what happened yesterday and this morning will never happen again.
Do you know if anybody has been arrested in the back of the disturbances?
We have identified some people, and we'll be inviting them to hold.
So I noticed the use of the word invite, not arrest. Is there a reason for that? You're approaching this because what, of the tensions in the town?
Yeah, because of the tension. We could have picked out some people today, but because of the tension, we advised ourselves to use another approach.
For those who are listening to you tonight, who may not have heard you whilst you're on the ground, what do you tell them? Because there seems to be a lot of anger today. It's boiled over a couple of times already. We've seen now people injured, gunshot wounds. What do you tell them?
That everybody should be calm. Everybody should be calm. Allow the security agencies to do their job. It is important that allow the security agencies to cooperate with them to do their job. Much as people may be hurt emotionally, we shouldn't take the law into our hands. We should trust the institutions that we shall take the matter up, and we are confident that we even plan to meet them. There will be a meeting between the DISEC and the group we met today tomorrow. There will be constant meetings with the community. There's going to be a series of community engagement, regular community engagements, for them to understand the issues and also to express their grievances to the security agencies, so that we work as a team, because these issues are about teamwork. The police alone cannot do it. And the responsibility of our security depends on all of us. We all have a part to play. So there are certain things that I cannot say on air, but my advice is that people should be calm. We are looking into their grievances.
I'm grateful. That is the regional minister, the Volta regional minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, there speaking to us about the latest developments in Segakofa today. As you may well know, in that petition and the press conference that the residents held, they had issued a 3-day ultimatum. The police themselves have been responding to that. They are actually going to be implementing these security measures. The spokesperson for the Volta Regional Police is Corporal Prince Dogbache.
We are committed to discharging on our mandate. That is our focus. We do not have to be, under the obligation of ultimatum from some disgruntled group of persons. I think that what is critical here now is for them to cooperate with us, support our cause, and so that all together we fight crime, rather than put timelines to our work. Investigation is not an event. We do not have anyone arrested in connection with this crime as yet, but we are working closely with those that are very critically involved, particularly the wife of the deceased. As we speak, she is currently receiving medical care, and we are monitoring situations in order to continue with our effort in trying to unravel the mystery behind this dastardly act. Even the District Security Council had already placed a bounty of an amount of 10,000 cedis on the head of those who engaged in this dastardly act.
So we just heard that the latest that there's a 10,000 cedi bounty on the head of whoever, in fact, instigated or caused the death of this assembly member. If you contribute information that leads to his arrest, you get that 10,000 cedis that the police is announcing tonight. There's a manhunt for those involved as well. Armed robbers, we understand that the police are looking for. A 10,000 cedi bounty has now been offered. The police are, however, condemning the actions of the residents.
We have also taken note of the involvement of the third Maxwell Lukuto, inciting the youth to engage in misbehavior. The youth had to block the road to traffic, and had to take reinforcement from the regional headquarters to clear the road and open the stairs to road users and other motorists. I think that is not, proper in an environment where we apply law. So he must be mindful of the consequences of his action. We have taken note of that.
That's the Volta Regional Police spokesperson, Corporal Prince Dogbache. We're keeping tabs on this for you. Once there are further developments, we'll bring that to you on Newsnight. There's a couple of minutes. What to expect, MFA?
GetFund Administrator hits hard as the Auditor General, Daniel Domelevo, rejecting claims that GetFund furnished him with a list of beneficiaries captured in the performance audit report. We have details from that. Also, the latest suspected case of coronavirus in Kumasi tests negative. And the Vice President has an advice for chiefs and traditional leaders. You want to stay for all that and more coming up shortly on Newsnight.